Hi, it's Heather from Mommypotamus. Today I'm going to show you how to make a simple coconut oil soap using just 3 ingredients. Now, I've been making this recipe for years. I'm not an expert soap maker, but it's worked really well for me. First, I started using it as a body bar, and then I learned to adapt the recipe to make laundry soap. And even more recently, I started using it as a shampoo bar. And as you can see, it just leaves your hair really soft and moisturized without any extra greasy feeling, and it's my favorite one to date. So I'm so excited to share that recipe with you. It's on my blog, mommypotamus.com. Now today I'm going to walk you through the process for making coconut oil soap. The recipes for the body bar, the laundry soap bar, and the shampoo bar are just a little different. It's the same exact ingredients, but you use more or less oil, depending on what you want to use it for. So for example, for the laundry soap, you don't want extra oil in your bar because you don't want oil in your clothes. But you might want a little extra moisturizing oil for your skin. So the recipes are a little different. The process is exactly the same, and I'm just going to walk you through it now. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is gather your equipment. Now, we're going to be using the hot process method. And I'm going to be honest, the reason that I love the hot process method, also known as the crock pot method, is that I almost always realize I need to make soap right before I run out. So with hot process, you can use it immediately after it sets. With cold process, you have to wait a few weeks for it to cure, and I'm just not that patient, and I'm usually not that organized. So I like this method. And then you're also going to need an immersion blender. We're going to use that when we're cooking the soap. You're going to need a scale that measures down to 2/10 of an ounce, and I have a link to this one on my blog because it's one of the very few that measures with that much precision. You're going to need a couple of spoons, some glass bowls, 2 to 3. I actually usually keep just an extra bowl on hand in case I need to throw extra stuff in it. It's kind of just my junk bowl. You are going to need your ingredients. For us, that's going to be, can you see this over here? That's going to be coconut oil, and then we're going to be using lye, and then we're going to be using water. In our next section in the series, I'm going to show you how to measure, so I haven't measured the water yet. I did these so we could make the video go more quickly, but I'll walk you through measuring the water. Let's see, a few other things you're going to need. A soap mold, something to put your soap in once it's ready. So I usually use a bread pan, and I line it with parchment paper. So I have some stuff here to line it, my parchment paper and my scissors. And you also need protective gear. So I always make my soap when I'm wearing long sleeves. And I have my gloves on, and then I wear these lovely glasses, which if you follow me on Instagram, you know I also wear these in the evenings to improve my melatonin levels. They are so awesome. So that is what you need to get started. And now we're going to move on to the next step. Now it's time to measure our ingredients. I've already measured the coconut oil and the lye just so that it's easier. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn the scale on, and we're going to measure the water. Now, when I place the bowl on, the scale factors the bowl in. So I'm going to press tare, and that sets it at 0 so that it's not factoring in the weight of the bowl. And then I'm going to go ahead and measure my water. Now, I'm making a shampoo bar today, so I am going to be looking for 12.54 ounces. Okay, that's 12.52. So I'm going to get just a little bit more water. And just add a few drops till we're there. Okay, so we're there. Now I'm going to set the water aside, and we'll be mixing it up with the lye in a little bit. But right now what I want to do is I'm going to turn my crock pot onto low, and I'm going to add the coconut oil so that it can be warming up. Now I'm gonna go ahead and cover this, and it's time to head outside and mix up our lye and water. All right, I've got my glasses on, I've got my gloves on, and it's time to mix up the lye. Now, I feel like a lot of people, or at least I've heard from a lot of people who are intimidated by using lye. And I just want to say, lye is definitely something that we want to be careful around, but it's not something to be scared of. You know, our great-grandmothers made lye by burning hardwood ashes so that they could use the fat from around their farms, the lard and the tallow, to make soap. You know, because without lye, you just have a big pile of fat. So this is a more refined form of lye. It's a little more reliable to work with than burned hardwood ashes, which is why we use it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mix it in. I prefer to use, some people like to use plastic spoons. I prefer to use stainless steel. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add that in, and I'm gonna mix it really thoroughly. It's gonna get really hot. You wanna make sure, I'm leaning away. If you're doing this in an indoor area, you wanna wear a mask and you wanna have really, really good ventilation. I prefer to do it outdoors because you really don't wanna breathe the vapors. And if you could see me right now, I'm like really, really leaning far, far away from it. So I've got it mixed in really good, and we're gonna let it sit for about 10 minutes, and the mixture will go from cloudy to clear, and that's how we know when it's ready. Just one thing I wanted to add to that is that if you have pets nearby, make sure not to leave this unattended. I have kitties on my deck, and so I don't leave this where they could drink from it because it would harm them. So if you have pets that have access to this, make sure to keep it out of reach. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, and as you can see, the mixture has gone from cloudy to clear, and there are no undissolved crystals in the mixture, so we're gonna take it inside and add it to the coconut oil. Now it's time to bring your mixture to trace. That's when you take your immersion blender and you blend it in figure eights like this, being careful not to splash, until the mixture reaches a light pudding texture. So we're gonna get started. Okay, as you can see, the texture has changed since we started blending. It's got a light pudding consistency. It's actually got a little bit more of a thick pudding consistency. And I'm going to go ahead and cover it, set it on low, and I'm gonna start by cooking it for about 45 minutes. I'll check on it every once in a while. One thing I want to show you real quick is what I'm doing with my tools when I'm finished using them. So here's the spoon and the bowl that I use to mix up the lye solution, and here is my immersion blender handle. I'm placing them in a solution of just water and vinegar, and that deactivates the lye so that it doesn't irritate your skin when you clean it up. So that's, I just let that soak while I continue on. And now we are going to prepare our molds. Now you can really use just about anything as a soap mold. I've used shoe boxes, I've used my kids, Melissa and Doug, organize, like they have some dress up dolls and the organizers, the box that they come in, I've used those. But my favorite is really just a basic bread pan. So I'm just gonna go ahead and trim some wax paper so that I can fit it in there, and just makes it so much easier to pop it out when it's done. I'm gonna slide this in. And then I'm gonna seed, and I've got enough here to cut a strip. Okay, so that was so simple. Our mold is ready and we just need to wait for our soap to be done cooking. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes and I'm just gonna check where we are. So it looks really good. Somewhere in the process, it's already happened. The soap will cook. It kind of rises up like a wave on the side and then it folds back in, and that's happened, and you can kind of see how it's folded back in. And it needs a little bit longer. So I'm just gonna let this cook for another 15 minutes or so, and then I'll check on it again. It's been about 45 minutes, so I'm gonna check on our soap. So it looks really good. It's still continuing the process of rising up the sides and folding in on itself, but there's no oil puddle here in the middle. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a quick stir. And then I'm gonna do the zap test. Now, there are pH strips out there that you can use to test the pH of your soap to make sure it's ready. And if you're gonna do that, you're gonna want it to be between a 7 and a 10. Now, I'm gonna just use the zap test, which is a little more informal. Now, because I have my gloves on, that didn't burn. But I am going to just let this cool on my glove, and then I'm gonna place it on my tongue. And if it zaps me, if it's not done, and if it just tastes like soap, then we are ready to go. Okay, so it just tastes like soap. So I'm gonna go ahead then and spoon this into my mold. Now, with most hot processed soaps, you usually allow the soap to sit for 24 hours before you cut it into bars. Coconut oil soap actually though makes a particularly hard bar of soap. So I usually just allow it to cool completely and then cut it the same day. So I'm gonna let this cool, and I will be back later to cut it. Okay, I just got the kids to bed, and it's been about 7 or 8 hours since I put the soap in my mold, and I'm gonna go ahead and pop it out, and I'm gonna cut my coconut oil shampoo bars into bars, and we'll be all set. So your first bar will be ready to use right away, but if you have the ability to, it's a good idea to place the rest of the bars in an area that has good circulation, good air circulation for 2 to 3 days. So that they can continue to dry out and harden. They'll last longer if you do that. And then you'll notice that over the period of about 2 to 3 weeks, these bars will continue to mellow out. They'll become a little bit more conditioning and just a little more, I guess, mild. And that's it. So this is why we don't wait to the next day. You can kind of see I'm having trouble cutting these. They make a really nice, very hard bar, and they get really difficult to cut if you let it sit too long. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make coconut oil soap. Thank you so much for watching.